We're paying close attention to what is and what might be happening in Iran tonight. Those are some of the most recent verified video images of protest activity there. As of right now, there is no internet access across the country. This is the first blackout since protests began 12 days ago. At least as many as 21 people are believed to have been killed. That includes security forces. CBC's Sarah Galashan is taking a look at this for us, and what can you tell us?
Well, let me just start by saying that it is very difficult right now to know what is happening on the ground in Iran. It is right now 4 a.m. Huge shout out to our verification team in Toronto at CBC, because they have been working very hard to track what video is actually trickling out of the country over the last few hours. This is what we can show you of the capital of Tehran. Images show you can see a large group of people walking toward what would be the city square. There can be chanting heard. It does appear in these videos, at least, to be relatively calm in traffic on the street. This would not be necessarily happening right now because you can see how many cars when we don't have an actual time on it. But it is the most recent, as I say. Similar in the northern city of Babel, and this would be Babel. Chants heard again, clapping heard from protesters. Again, important to say that our team has verified these images, and they do run counter to the state narrative that is coming out, which is that there are very few people on the streets in cities throughout the country. In the capital of Tehran, only a small number of rioters there. Over the last 12 days, and that's how long this movement has been happening and growing, it has been fueled over the collapse of Iran's currency, and as well by calls from a number of individuals, not the least of which is Reza Pahlavi, the eldest son of the exiled Shah who lives in the United States. He has posted, and this is him right here, posted to various social medias, this I took off of X, in which he is calling on people in Iran to take to the streets at a specific time today and tomorrow. It was around 8 p.m. that he was calling for people to flood the streets en masse, and said that based on what happens, there will be further calls to actions from him once it is discovered how this all has actually played out. But it was, roughly around the same time as people would have been flooding to the streets that the internet started to go down. We started getting reports that internet was not accessible throughout various cities and then throughout the entire country of Iran. In the past, we know Iranian authorities have forced an internet blackout in the midst of protests in that country. But I think also important to say at this point, Ian, we cannot say for certain what has caused the loss of internet within that country.
So we have verified video of huge protests in the street. We have the government saying that there are not huge protests in the street. And we have the internet blacking out, whatever the cause, kind of an ominous series of circumstances there. A few days ago, when the White House had less on its plate, it warned that if protesters were clamped down on by the Iranian government, the White House of the United States would do something about all this. Are we hearing from them at all this evening?
So there have been more recent interviews posted with Donald Trump, the U.S. president, talking about, but really reiterating what we heard him say on board Air Force One on January 4th, and that being, a threat of retribution should protesters be killed in the country of Iran. It's a very quick clip, but let me play it for you.
If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard.
Now that threat, given the events of the last several days here, may be taken more seriously than perhaps it might have been in the past. I'll just say, in terms of deaths that we have seen over the 12 days now that these protests have been going on, I've seen a couple of numbers. One from a Norway-based human rights group that is claiming at least 45 protesters, including 8 children, have been killed over the duration of these protests. Media inside Iran, as well as official statements, that brings the tally to 21 deaths, including security forces that may or may not. Those numbers are not inclusive, though I can say for certain, Ian, of what may or may not be happening on the ground right now in Iran.
Yeah, a large group of Canadians, of course, with ties to Iran. And if you are watching and are hearing anything from friends and family back home, certainly give us a shout at our email address, which is Hano at cbc.ca. All right, Sarah, thank you very much.